The year was 1916. The place, a scar of mud and wire somewhere near the Somme. It was not a battle. It was an endurance contest against the industrial scale of death. Lance Corporal Thomas Ainsworth was just a number in the roster of the East Yorkshire Regiment. But on the night of July 18th, he became a ghost. The bombardment had been relentless, a physical thing tearing the air apart. Shrapnel screeched, earth erupted, and the noise was a constant deafening roar that swallowed fear whole. In the chaos of a shell crater collapsing near their dugout, Thomas vanished. No body, no cry, just a sudden empty space where he had been moments before. His sergeant, a tired, pragmatic man named Davies, simply marked him down as killed in action, body irretrievable. Another casualty claimed by the hungry earth. They mourned him for precisely 7 minutes before the next wave of shelling demanded their full attention. 3 days later, the rain had stopped, the field guns had settled into a sullen, rhythmic cough, and the routine of war had reasserted itself. It was nearing dawn when the sentry froze, his rifle half raised. A figure was stumbling out of the wasteland of no man's land, not running, not crawling, but walking with the stunned, deliberate pace of a man underwater. He was caked head to toe in dry grey mud, his uniform shredded, his helmet gone, but he was alive. It was Thomas Ainsworth. He looked 20 years older, his eyes wide and unfocused, fixed on some point far beyond the trench line. When he was hauled over the parapet, his body felt cold and stiff. He offered no greeting, no explanation, only a single choked whisper, "I saw something no one will ever believe." The medical officer attributed it to concussion and shock, a trauma-induced fugue state. But Thomas's lucidity, when it returned in fits and starts, was disturbingly calm, his claims too precise to be mere raving. He didn't remember the blast, only a sudden, profound quiet. Not the dulling of sound, but an absolute, impossible silence that felt like a pressure against his eardrums. He said he woke up in a shell crater, the ground steaming, but the shelling had stopped entirely. The German lines were 50 yards away, yet no rifles fired, no machine guns chattered, only the pervasive, smothering silence. He began to walk, seeking the familiar shape of his own trenches, but found them abandoned. Equipment scattered, rations half-eaten, no bodies, no blood. Just empty, mud-caked tunnels stretching into a desolate oblivion. His fear wasn't of being shot, he explained to a skeptical Sergeant Davies, but of being alone in a world that had suddenly emptied out. The landscape felt wrong, too still, the sky an unnatural, bruised purple. He claimed the air had a metallic tang, like old copper. Then came the fog, not the wet, clinging mist of the mornings, but a dense, yellowish haze that rolled in fast, erasing the trenches, the barbed wire, everything it was within this suffocating atmosphere that Thomas's real terror began. He described seeing lights, not flares, but huge, slow-moving columns of luminous blue and silver that pulsed high above the fog. They moved with an intelligence, a deliberate grace that was alien to the chaos of war. He said they didn't make a sound, yet their presence was immense, filling the silent void with an unspoken, terrifying awareness. He stumbled on for what felt like an eternity, trying to orient himself by stars that seemed strangely bright and unfamiliar. It was then, standing alone in that strange, silent world, that the ultimate memory struck him, the one that broke his mind and sent him walking back across the true battlefield. He said the fog momentarily lifted, revealing the horizon. And the horizon, he insisted, was burning. Not the distant orange glow of a city under attack, but a vast, slow conflagration that seemed to consume the curvature of the earth itself. He saw structures, impossibly tall and sleek, disintegrating into dust, and in the distance, a colossal echoing shockwave of light that wasn't moving towards him, but away, as if he were watching a terrible event in reverse, or after it was already over. He watched for a moment, unable to move, believing with absolute certainty that he was witnessing the final end of all things. The conclusion of the human story played out on an empty stage. When he looked again, the purple sky was gone, replaced by the familiar grey-brown haze of the Western Front, and the distant, reassuring crackle of machine gun fire sounded like a blessed symphony. He was back in his own time, his own war, but the emptiness he had seen had lodged deep within his soul. The other men avoided him. They whispered that the shell shock had turned him peculiar, that he'd wandered into German gas and was making it all up. But Davies, watching the haunted look in Thomas's eyes, saw something colder, something true. Thomas Ainsworth was never the same. He spoke little of what he saw, retreating into a quiet shell, forever gazing past the men around him. He was eventually invalided out, a victim of psychological damage. But the mystery of the 3 missing days remained. No record of a German advance or retreat matched his account of the empty trenches. The weather logs showed only light drizzle. No record of a dense yellowish fog or a purple sky. Was it merely a devastating hallucination brought on by trauma, his mind creating an impossible escape from the hell of the Somme? Or did Lance Corporal Thomas Ainsworth, for 3 lost days in the summer of 1916, somehow step sideways out of the relentless flow of history, witnessing a future he couldn't comprehend, a catastrophic silence that swallowed the whole war whole before the gears of time slipped him back into his designated reality? Whatever the truth, he carried the end of the world in his mind, returning from death to tell a tale too chilling to be believed. A tale of a world without humanity, where only the strange, silent lights moved in the void.